Hey everyone, Jeremy here. Today I'm about to watch a new theory video from Nerdist about the Bacta tank theory. Now I've heard a little bit about this, but not a lot. So I wanted to watch this video and discuss it with you guys. I think I know what it's referring to, but I'm not quite sure. Now this technically could be a spoiler if the theory turns out to be true, just like any theory. So if you clicked on this by accident, you might want to leave now.
Is the Book of Boba Fett teasing a major character death? A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Boba Fett was once the coolest looking character to have the lamest death imaginable. He was knocked into the gaping maw of a desert-dwelling murder monster by a disoriented Han Solo who was groping about Jabba's pleasure barge.
Yeah, that always bothered me.
And with that simple act, Boba Fett became a Sarlacc sand snack and was relegated to Schrodinger's cat status as Star Wars canon and the expanded universe increasingly diverged. With The Mandalorian Season 2, Boba finally got the redemption his character so desperately needed in the main canon. Not only did he survive the Sarlacc pit and apparently spent time among the Tusken Raiders, but he also proved essential in the battle against Moff Gideon to rescue the wee baby Grogu from his Mitt Gideons. Now though, the Book of Boba Fett spin-off is finally out in the wild, and this series will show us how Boba Fett will turn the remains of Jabba's criminal empire into Robert Fettuccine's Tatooine Syndicini, which is what I'm calling it until Lucasfilm sends me a cease and desist letter. And Lucasfilm, if you're watching, please don't send that. I can't start this year on that note. Please don't take legal action. Now, not only did we learn how Boba Fett survived being swallowed by the Sarlacc pit, which was almost exactly as Parks and Rec predicted, but we saw just how fragile control over Tatooine's scum and villainy really is. And we also saw how fragile our eponymous anti-hero is thanks to his numerous trips to the Bacta tank to heal from his lingering wounds. And speaking of that Bacta tank, the omnipresent medical device in the galaxy far, far away is at the center of a new theory that suggests the Book of Boba Fett could be foreshadowing something tragic for Boba himself.
Something about that room too that
time being, if it winds up
kind of gives me chills.
It could be considered a spoiler. So if you're worried about that kind of thing, now's your chance to leave.
Lord Fett offers the gift of your leave unmolested.
Alright, let's get into it, shall we? This theory, which was first posited by Dork Side of the Force, suggests that the Book of Boba Fett could be reaching deep into the annals of Star Wars legends to bring back one of the darker aspects of Boba Fett's character. As we learn in Stranger in a Strange Land, Boba Fett's time in the Sarlacc's Tum was unpleasant to say the least. To make matters worse, he was then robbed of his armor by some enterprising Jawas and left for dead in the desert until Tusken Raiders took him captive. You know, because some good old-fashioned dehydration was exactly what the bounty hunter needed after every other indignity that he suffered. As we all know, bounty hunting is a dangerous profession. As a result of the injuries he sustained over the years, and most prominently being almost digested for 1,000 years by the Sarlacc, Boba still requires copious amounts of medical treatment some 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, it makes you think those scars were all from
the pages of a
the
1996
Sarlacc.
short story, The Last One Standing, The Tale of Boba Fett. Written by Daniel Keyes Moran and edited by Kevin J. Anderson, this story appeared in Bantam Spectra's Tales of the Bounty Hunters anthology. The story envisions a much older Boba Fett facing off with Han Solo one last time in a duel for the ages on Jubilar, where they first met in the Legends canon. And while that's all well and good, we learn that Boba Fett has spent much of his ill-gotten gains on medical treatments to stem the tide of a rare type of cancer. He developed it as a result of his time in the Sarlacc, which altered his metabolism somehow. And although the Boba Fett we see in that short story is much older, it tracks with where we pick up with people like Han Solo by the time of The Force Awakens. And we could be seeing something similar play out in the Book of Boba Fett. So, does this mean the final...
Okay, I gotta pause there. Okay, that's a lot. So stepping back a bit, I have not read that. I obviously have not read that because I did not read a book where Boba had cancer. That is, woo. And let's say that's true. If it is true, they're not going to call it cancer. They'll call it something else. He'll be dying of something. Sarlacc sickness, whatever they want to call it. But that does make me, like I said, he looked really sick. When he came out of the Sarlacc, but granted, he'd been through hell, but when he came out of the Sarlacc, he looked ill. He looked truly ill. So, that could be foreshadowing, but well, let's go.
chapter of the Book of Boba Fett will end with Boba going from daimyo to dead-yo? Well, probably not. But having such a physical limitation will make for a fascinating ascent to power in a land where strength is prized so highly. Because unlike Wade Wilson or Wolverine, Boba Fett doesn't have a built-in healing factor. He'll need regular Bacta baths if he wants to rebuild his strength after stomping assassins' asses in. The real question, though, is whether or not Fennec Shand can protect him from all of these interlopers who are going to be gunning for his throne. After all, someone sent those assassins after Boba and Fennec, and we still need to decipher the crime syndicate that's behind that mysterious symbol we saw painted on the wall in Episode 1.
So, if he's sick, if he really is sick, that one thing I heard before I even watched this was, if he's sick, look at his bedroom. His bedroom is only a Bacta tank. There is no bed in that room that we have seen. It looks like that is all that is in the master bedroom. If he is sleeping there, then he is sleeping in the Bacta tank. That is worrying. That means he really, that could be a clue that he really is this sick.
This lingering physical condition is just the latest in a long line of plot developments being made canon once more after they were thought lost to the annals of history when Disney hit the reset button on so much of Star Wars Legends lore. Case in point, cancer wasn't the only deadly illness that Boba Fett found himself facing down in Star Wars Legends. At one point, Han Solo's Sith son, Darth Caedus, and the Imperial Remnant engineered a nanovirus specifically designed to kill Boba Fett. They released said virus on Mandalore, but Boba was thankfully off-world, so he dodged that bullet. Unfortunately, that meant he could never set foot on Mandalore again as long as he lived. And considering how The Mandalorian seems to be teeing up a plotline to reclaim Mandalore, maybe we could see something like that play out down the line, but for now, it's just another hurdle for Boba Fett to overcome on his quest to become the most respected Time Lord on all of Tatooine.
Couldn't see that being
for now,
implemented
let's just
right
hope
now.
that when it comes to getting ahead in life, Boba doesn't take after his dad. But speaking of Han Solo, does the revival of this particular plot point give any credence to the rumors that the scruffy-looking nerf herder himself
that was something else I was wondering about.
According to The Sun, whose reports warrant more salt than you would find on the surface of Crate, Harrison Ford is reportedly rumored to have spent 3 days filming in London for a cameo scene in the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett. And while that might be cool to have Han and Boba reunite for one last stare down, Harrison Ford seemingly wants nothing more to do with the galaxy far, far away, especially after the sequel trilogy. I mean, look, he finally got his decades-long wish to be killed off as we saw at long last in The Force Awakens. But then again, who knows? Anything is possible in the galaxy far, far away. Maybe we'll get another eerie instance of digital de-aging like they did with Luke Skywalker in the Mandalorian Season 2 finale.
I wonder...
Or maybe it'll be Alden Ehrenreich in old age makeup. We'll just have to wait and see for ourselves.
I don't want to talk over him. I could actually see that being true. Only to the extent that... grain of salt, but if it's true, I'll give it a 20% chance. If it is true, I would say it's because of Hamill, because of Mark, because he actually may have enjoyed doing the Star Wars sequels. We don't know how, I've not seen any interviews with him to say otherwise. He may have had a good time doing them. It may have like reawakened some, nostalgic feelings for it, and then seeing Mark de-aged like that, he might go, you know what, I'll do that. It's not impossible. However, it's from The Sun, and they are really, really highly improbable to listen to. But I could see Han showing up. I really could see Han showing up, but I'd wager it'd be Alden Ehrenreich before it would be Harrison. But possible.
As the Book of Boba Fett continues to unfold each week on Disney+. In the meantime, though, we'll have plenty of deeper dives into the galaxy far, far away waiting for you over on Nerdist.com.
Okay, that was about what I expected, but not quite, because I don't expect it to be space cancer. It'll be a version of. It'll be a version of. I am warming to this, because once I heard somebody point out that he doesn't have a bed in there and only a Bacta, and I saw this online somewhere, so I pointed that out, and I went, oh, wait a minute. Is Boba sick? And with this theory, that really, or I thought maybe he was just really much more wounded than we realized, because he got pretty messed. If you think about it, I mean, that rod that hit him, yeah, that stings. Not gonna lie, that's gonna take you down. But that took him down hard. Like, he had to go into the Bacta after hard. I genuinely think this might be true, that he might be more messed up than we know. and that the Sarlacc may have done a lot more damage to him than we realize. Or what if it's because he's a clone? What if it's because he's a clone? What if something about the Sarlacc and the things he's been through has chipped away at something inside his own clone immune system and is going to slowly start killing him? And that is what we're seeing right now. His body is breaking down due to the cloning process. It's whatever it turns out to be. I really feel like this might be true. It really tracks, because this doesn't feel like an origin story. I mean, it's a little bit of an origin of where he's been and where this version of Boba is going. But I could see this being ultimately this story ending with Fett's death. I don't see it in the first season. I'd say this will probably go 3-4 seasons before they would do that. However, I could see that be the game plan, that this ends with Fett dying. And then illness would make sense. And I could even see him, getting this empire together, his own vast criminal underworld, pretty much making sure that it is all set and in place. And then he's going to hand it off. This is just a theory. This is my theory. I wonder if he would hand it off at that point to someone he truly trusted. Would he hand it off to Fennec? I don't know. It would have to, I have a feeling there are more characters, maybe even more people, maybe even a child out there somewhere, and a wife. Legends. There's been stuff in Legends. Just saying. Or, hey, maybe that is how we finally get Omega, or Omega, if you say it like her. Maybe that's how we finally get her in live action, is 2 or 3 seasons down the line, he needs to hand off the business and he goes to his sister to do so. Because I don't think we'll ever see her in live action while the Bad Batch is still going. At least not in these early seasons. Like, I figured Bad Batch, if it goes 3-4 seasons, it'll end, which is about the same time as Boba Fett. And I figured that's about the time we'd see her in live action, because they don't want to spoil what happens to Omega before we see her in Boba Fett. If we see her in Boba Fett, then we know everything works out and she goes on to have a life. And then we might also find out, well, wait a minute, why is the Bad Batch not with her? Are they all dead? I think it gets messy. I don't think they'll do that. But I do think that they would save her I could see them anyways, save her for a final season and have her come out, have her be the person that takes over or something like that for Boba. Which would be a weird fate for Omega, now that I think of it, because she's such a sweet, darling thing. And here's a criminal empire, Omega. We're only 2 episodes in, so it's hard to say right now where this is going to go, but it's just an interesting idea, especially seeing what happened this week. I mean, setting Omega and him handing off a criminal empire or whatever it is aside, he might have a whole different plan in place altogether. He may not even want a criminal empire. He might be dismantling the underworld for all we know. I don't think we know all of his plans yet. So whatever happens, I could see this be the fuse that's been lit, and why Boba has to continue going and going and going and going, because he may actually realize he's on borrowed time and has to get all this done before he's gone. It's a sad and dark theory, but it's really possible. And it would be, honestly, it'd be kind of a cool way for Boba to go out. There are some really cool things that he could do on his way out. If he knows he's got time, like he's putting everything in order before it's all over, All right, what did you guys think of this theory? Leave your comments below. I definitely want to hear what you have to say this time, because I want to know if you think they're way off base. Maybe you picked up something that I haven't. Maybe you saw a bed that I missed. I don't know. I'm hung up on that. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe to see more content like this, as well as share with friends if you think they might enjoy it. I'm actually thinking about starting from this week going forward, doing a comments video after each Boba Fett, where I'm going to take comments from the comments section and discuss the theories and things that other people picked up that maybe I didn't talk about during the reaction. So keep an eye out for those as well. All right, and before I go, whatever you are getting up to today, I hope it is terrific, and I hope hope you enjoy yourselves. Please take care. Bye-bye.